Welcome in. It's time for the morning espresso here on the SDH network. I'm Jason Longshore. And it's been a busy 24 plus hours when it comes to the SDH network and everything going on in soccer in Atlanta. There's been a multitude of forwards that have been linked with a move to Atlanta United. And then some bombazos started to drop yesterday afternoon, just a few hours, minutes before Newcastle was set to play. Word came out from multiple different places that Atlanta United was interested in bringing back home Miguel Almiron of Newcastle United. Now, things have progressed since those initial reports. Here's the latest from The Guardian. This has been echoed in a few other outlets as well. The move sounds like it's close to happening. It's not done, but it's close. The Guardian used close in their report this morning. Fee somewhere between 8 to 10 million pounds, and what's guaranteed and what is an add-on escalator kind of thing. That part's unknown. Yes, Charlotte was in the mix for Miguel Almiron, tried to bring him in last summer, was still talking to him about coming in here in January. They have stepped aside. They're going to get some allocation money out of the deal. I don't know if they get as much as they got for Marco Royce or if that number is going to be less. But it's starting to sound like this might just happen. He came on as a sub for a few minutes yesterday. He really hasn't played a lot this season for Newcastle. He's 30 years old. He's only started one Premier League game. He was a mainstay of the team that earned Champions League qualification in 2022, 2023. Overall, he's made 222 Newcastle appearances, 30 goals. Maybe that was a farewell appearance yesterday, although Eddie Howe, after the game, said that he had not been informed of anything imminent with Miguel Almiron. It sounds like maybe things have emerged past that. Last season, he was used mostly on the right wing by Eddie Howe. During his time here in Atlanta, he was used mostly as a 10. I think if this happens, it gets really, really interesting with Alexei Miranchuk, with Sabo Lobjanidze, with a number 9. We'll talk about that in a second of what this attack could look like. Is it a 4-2-3-1 essentially, and the 3 and the 1 at the top of it? Very, very fluid. We know Moranchuk can play out wide. We know Saba has played on the right and he's played on the left. We know that Miguel Almiron, if he is part of that 3, he can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can play in the middle. It gets really, really fun to play fantasy booking and start thinking about what that could look like. It's not done yet, but just what we know, Atlanta would like to get a deal done sooner rather than later because preseason is underway. Newcastle would like to get a deal done sooner rather than later, although it's sounding like they wouldn't go out into the market for a replacement. They do need to make some deals because of their financial situation and financial sustainability and those reports in the Premier League. They're okay, but it would give them some more flexibility if they make this move. I don't know if Atlanta would get some of the price back since they have a sell-on fee and they would be the ones doing the buying and getting some of the sell-on fee. Or I don't know if that's just a discount or who knows? Who knows how this works? Maybe the number is actually higher than what's being reported, but that part's being washed away. I don't know. These are things that I have not seen yet in this game and in this league and in these kind of contract situations. But it's really exciting that Miguel Almiron could be coming back as a returning hero to Atlanta United. We'll just have to wait and see if this gets done. But reports this morning are that it is moving along, and close is the word that has been used. Let's move on to the forward position. Emmanuel Latte Lath. Middlesbrough are exploring striker options with the expectation that he will be leaving the club. Now, don't know if that's to Atlanta or to somewhere else. He has wanted Premier League football. I don't know if that's going to happen for him right now. Going to have to wait and see on this. But Middlesbrough has been looking at other forwards. You've got Kyogo Furuhashi of Celtic being linked to Rennes in France, although the reports are very conflicting because some are saying that a deal is imminent. Some are saying that Jorge Sampaoli, the manager at Rennes, wanted to sign Kyogo, but the club's leadership said no to that. Uh, I don't know. There's also been reports that Celtic could look to bring Odson Edward back to them If they sell Kyogo, which Odsonne Edward has been linked with a move to Atlanta potentially, and I don't know how that would happen since he's played for Crystal Palace and for Leicester City in the current season. I'm not sure if moving to another league entirely is a loophole around that. I don't know. This gets really, really interesting. So that's the Atlanta United transfer update. I'm sure there's going to be more things that pop off after this gets recorded. So just stay tuned and we'll keep you posted. SDH Live 9:05 this morning. Don't forget on Twitch, on X, on Facebook, here on YouTube as well. If you want to check in with John Nelson and the crew, I'm sure they're going to have plenty to talk about. Quickly, the rest of the elements of the espresso this morning. Newcastle in that game where Miguel Almiron maybe made his last appearance for the club. They won their ninth straight match 3-0 over Wolves. Alexander Isak has scored 9 goals in his last 6 games, including 2 yesterday. Arsenal beat Spurs 2-1. Tottenham are closer to the relegation zone than to the top 4. They are in 13th place, 14th off of Newcastle in 4th, 8 above 18th placed Wolves. The president of the Spanish Football Federation has stated that they may challenge in the courts Barcelona's court injunction that has allowed them to temporarily register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. Even with all this going on and Barcelona maybe being able to keep those 2 guys, maybe not, Barcelona are chasing after Marcus Rashford on loan. They would have to move somebody out and then figure out the salary charges with Manchester United, but that's sounding like it is a possibility to the point that Milan, who has been interested in Rashford as well, is kind of expecting that he's going to go to Barcelona. So they're looking at Kyle Walker, which makes more sense for them anyway. They need a fullback more than they need a winger. So come on, Milan, get this right. Go get Kyle Walker. You can only get one of the English guys because they're not part of the European Union and they're outside of that rule. And it's all so complicated. Ansu Fati is the player that is linked potentially with leaving Barcelona to make room for Rashford. He's linked with West Ham and Tottenham. Let's go over to Italy. Hellas Verona, they have been acquired by Presidio Investors, a private equity firm based in Texas. 100% of the club has been purchased from Maurizio Setti, who has been the longstanding owner. Ninth club in Serie A under North American ownership. Italo Zanzi is the incoming executive chairman, former executive with Roma. He said, "It is a profound honor to join Hellas Verona, a club that embodies the passion and heritage of the city of Verona." One silly season update out of Europe. A player that a lot of people have been talking about here, Omar Marmoush at Eintracht Frankfurt. His club has rejected an opening bid from Manchester City. It sounded like they want a whole lot of money, and Manchester City offered a lot of money. Not sure how far apart they are, but expect a follow up offer. Another interesting one, kind of Europe, kind of South America. We'll bridge the gap. Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney, they bought Wrexham, as you know, everybody does by this stage. A lot of people thought it's a PR stunt. This is just for a TV show. No, they've really gone after this, and it's been impressive. They are trying to get another straight promotion into the championship this year, and it's possible. Now, according to Adam Crafton, they are involved in a takeover of La Equidad in Colombia, based in Bogota. They're not fronting the bid, but they're part of a wider investment group that has taken on a 99% stake in the club. Justin Verlander, Major League Baseball pitcher, is part of that mix as well. Club Leon, they are looking to add another prestigious player. They've just added James Rodriguez, and they're part of the Club World Cup in the summer. And they are trying to add Marcelo, who is a free agent right now after leaving Fluminense in Brazil. MLS updates quickly. Vancouver, they have named Jesper Sorensen as their next head coach. 16 years of professional coaching experience in Denmark. He was most recently with Brøndby over the last season. He's under contract through 2026. Portland trying to find their new central midfield mainstay. They have signed Joao Ortiz from Ecuadorian powerhouse Independiente del Valle. 28 years old, Ecuador international, reportedly $1.5 million on the transfer fees under contract through 2027. LA Galaxy, this has been rumored. Now it's official. They have signed center back Matthias Jorgensen from Anderlecht. 34 years old. He is a veteran of over 500 professional matches. He's played in the Premier League. He's played in the Bundesliga. He's played in the Eredivisie. He's played in the Turkish top flight. He has also played in Belgium. Veteran center back to add to the group for the LA Galaxy. DC United have signed a veteran center back, Kai Rowles of Hearts in Scotland, under contract for 2 years. He's 26 years old, over 100 games with Hearts. Before that, he played in the A League with Brisbane Roar and the Central Coast Mariners. Inter Miami, they have acquired Tadeo Ashinde on loan from Celta de Vigo. That was announced on Tuesday. Toronto have acquired winger Theo Corbinu on loan from Granada in Spain. He's a Canadian international, 22 years old, came through the Toronto Academy. San Diego have acquired Alejandro Alvarado Jr. from the Portuguese second division side, FC Vizela. Um, that was announced on Tuesday as well. U.S. Youth International, 21 years old. Charlotte, they have in a trade, not a trade for cash, but a trade, old school traditional MLS trade. They've acquired Eric Williamson from Portland up to $350,000 in GAM, 100,000 guaranteed, 250 conditional. It's a lot of conditional. Portland will also retain a sell-on percentage in that deal. Real Salt Lake, they have acquired goalkeeper Mason Stajdahar from Orlando City, longtime goalkeeper with them mostly as a backup. Orlando getting 50,000 in general allocation money, a second round MLS Super Draft pick, and potentially another 150,000 if certain incentives are met before the conclusion of the 2028 MLS season. Houston have signed Eric Duenas, who's a former LAFC homegrown. Cincinnati have re-signed Nick Haglund through 2027, 32 years old. He's got over 200 games in MLS. Miami have re-signed Oscar Ustari, the veteran 38-year-old goalkeeper from Argentina. He signed through the rest of the 2025 season. Nashville, third homegrown signing in club history, and they've got more years played than homegrowns, which is a shock the way MLS is going these days. Chris Applewhite, I think he's the best homegrown that they've got. Only three to choose from. Applewhite's played a lot for Huntsville City. I've always been really impressed with seeing him. Nakvi Torreson of St. Louis, they have loaned him to Sparta Rotterdam in Holland. Neymar. Yes, Neymar. Preliminary talks with three MLS sides, according to ESPN. One of those is Chicago Fire. We don't know who the other two. Miami is not expected to be one of them because they can't add him according to the current MLS roster rules. And they just announced a whole bunch of roster rule changes. So I don't know if they're going to make a special Neymar exception, but I'd put nothing past anybody at this stage. But Chicago being interested in Neymar and trying to go get him is very, very interesting. Stay tuned. Wilfred Zaha, he is linked with a move from Galatasaray to Charlotte. He's currently on loan at Lyon in France. He would be recalled and then moved to Charlotte as a designated player if this deal gets done. Tom Bogert of Give Me Sport had it first. Last one, U.S. men's national team, Jesus Ferreira, Jalen Neal, John Tolkien have all left national team camp. A decision on bringing replacements in will be made in the coming days. First game is on Saturday against Venezuela. Ferreira, he's going to join Seattle so he can focus on getting back to full fitness. They weren't happy with kind of where that was coming in. They didn't want to push it. Jalen Neal, a minor injury issue. He's going to move to Montreal since he's joining them for the first time. He's going to move over to Tampa, so it doesn't have far to go to join up with his new club. Tolkien, according to the press release, was given permission to depart camp for personal reasons. Those personal reasons could be a reported move to Holstein Kiel in Germany. Stay tuned. You got games today in a couple different places. Probably the Premier League will get a lot of eyeballs, and Manchester United. Can Ruben Amorim start to get things going for them? Stay tuned. That game's at 3 o'clock. You can watch on the USA Network. Ipswich Town and Brighton as well. That's a 2:30 start. Mexico, they are playing a couple of South American clubs in this window. It is a all Liga MX roster. They play Internacional of Brazil at 7 o'clock tonight. You can watch on Fox Deportes. And you can watch a little Liga MX to close out your evening. Club America, the three-time defending champions, they are hosting Tijuana. Watch on 2DayNA. That's it for the Morning Espresso. Back tomorrow with more of the soccer news that you need to know. But don't forget SDH Live about to kick off on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, and on Twitch. Y'all have a good rest of the day.